What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe Nowadays off DFS here to bring that NBA slate breakdown for the 8th game NBA Cup. Even though I don't know if I give a damn about the NBA Cup anymore because last night was some bullshit, and we gonna talk about that right there. The Washington Wizards, the 1-14 Washington Wizards from last night. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw CJ McCollum hit that third three for them. The fact that they beat them first quarter 23-45. The Washington Wizards did that. No Keyshawn George, no, wasn't out there. CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton, who almost had a triple-double last night. Triple-double. Just my mind blown watching them last night, man. I figured Star would have a good game. Corey Kispert would have a good game. Thought it might be an okay game. Did not expect the Atlanta Hawks to get belt to literal ass. CJ McCollum, 10 of 13 from 3, 46 actual points. Chef's kiss. Just, there was nothing you could do to stop him out there last night. And then Chris Middleton, man, he turned back the clock. He definitely looked pretty good out there. But Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, all of them let me down. Just completely. There was nothing that I could say or do in regards to that. And then, of course, inside of the Magic game, taking on the 76ers, Jalen Suggs gets ejected. Was killing it. 30-something fantasy points. Gets ejected. Hey, you know what? I don't need you to play in the damn game. Fuck it. Yeah. Last night was wild. Do I care about it being a cup game? I don't know if I do. And honestly, Suggs got ejected on some bullshit. That was like the softest ejection ever. There was no reason for him to get ejected in my eyes over there for that. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the little tangents and stuff like that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the sauce, the stuff your boy drops over here on the channel. And drop a like on this video if this video or any other videos of content help you guys win some money. With that being said, let's go ahead and let's look at the injury report for today. Don't got to worry about this Detroit taking on Boston. We ain't worried about that. That's not on the main slate. New York Knickerbockers taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Over here, OG Anunoby, Landry Shamet, he's still out over there for them. Charlotte, no real news that we got to worry about for there. So we're going to keep it moving. Milwaukee taking on Miami. Giannis is a game time decision. Apparently, he was doing some on-court activities before the last game. Possibly could have played, but he was still held out. Miami, they got Tyler Hero back. He looked pretty good in that first game back. We're going to touch on that when we get over there. Andrew Wiggins, he's a game time decision, questionable to play. Same thing with Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Drew Smith, I think it's Dre Smith. We got to just pay attention to some of that stuff, but I got little hits and pieces over there for Miami when we get to them. Minnesota Timberpups, no news for them. For the OKC Thunder, Shea is questionable with the illness, but he was at practice playing. Granted, he was at practice on the court by himself, taking some shots. Take that with a grain of salt or however you feel about that, because I'm not too sure, even myself, how to take that. Like, I really don't know what to tell you about that one right there. Indiana Pacers taking on Toronto Raptors. They are still without Obi Toppin, still without Aaron Nesmith. And then for the Raptors, they are still without RJ Barrett. For the Memphis Grizzlies taking on New Orleans Pelicans, Zach Edey is questionable. He left last game with an injury, so definitely keep an eye on that right there. For the Pelicans, Derek Queen currently is listed in the starting lineup, but there's no telling if he's actually going to be playing in the starting lineup or not because, like I said, he got benched last game. Houston Rockets taking on the Golden State Warriors. They are without Steven Adams. They are without Tari Eason, and not possibly, they're without Kevin Durant, who might be welcoming in a child into this world. If that is true, because I've seen the rumors floating around on the internet, that's great. We finally have the lineage of Kevin Durant. So keep an eye out over there in regards to the Houston Rockets team, who they actually start. They did start Reece Shepard last time with KD being out, and they put Şengün back to the center spot and had Okogie come back into the starting line. So we do have to pay attention to that right there. Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green is probable. Al Horford, Jonathan Kuminga, both those guys have already been ruled out. And then the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. Shaedon Sharpe is questionable to play over here for them. They will be without Drew Holiday once again. Scoot Henderson is still out. And then for the San Antonio Spurs, still without Wemby, still without Castle, and Dylan Harper is questionable to play. Going on over to DraftKings, the site I play the most on the site. If you guys don't have an account, you want one, check the link down in the description box below so you guys get that deposit match bonus and join your boy over here on the Kang. With that being said, first team up, New York Knickerbockers taking on Charlotte Hornets. I'm not gonna lie, this is starting to look like New York of old, where we're seeing a tight rotation. The main guys that you're gonna want to focus on, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns. The usage is just pretty sky high between these two. This is a great dominant matchup for Karl-Anthony Towns, who last time out dropped 65 fantasy points going up against the Brooklyn Shitters. Like, just look completely dominant out there. If he's gonna be playing at the power forward spot, I definitely don't mind it. If he's gonna be playing at the center spot, I don't mind it either way. Mitchell Robinson will be back for this game, but either way, he has a really great spot to to be able to dominate over here. Miles Bridges is not going to be able to handle him for whatever he can do. And then when he's going to take those minutes at the center spot, he should still be able to go out there, stretch the floor like what he's done. As long as that shot is falling, he's getting the rebounds, which that's been the really big thing that I've noticed from Cat this season, is he's actually rebounding the ball, and he's doing it at a very high clip with or without Mitchell Robinson being out there. But Cat, 9,700 makes sense as a spend-up stud. I definitely do not mind that. Jalen Brunson, I don't necessarily feel like I have to get to Brunson with some of the other guards that we do have on the slate. 9K is a fair price to pay for him. Of course, it is a great spot for him. We did just see Dyson Daniels, James Harden both go out here, 75, 45 fantasy points quickly, a nice 40 burger. It is within the realm of possibility for Brunson, but with all the studs and stuff we have on the slate, I'm not too sure that we have to necessarily get there. I don't mind coming out here to Mikal Bridges, who of course is seeing more shot attempts and defensive intensity and all that other good stuff. With no OG being out there, rebounding is going up as well. You could definitely mess with that as one of your plays. But coming out here to Miles McBride, who of course should be getting the start, still of course no Landry Shamet being out there. The minutes are going to be there for Miles McBride, especially if he's in the starting lineup, and he is knocking down his shot. Not a bad position spot to go to for Miles. And then we could possibly pivot over here to Jordan Clarkson, who is going to see that usage off of the bench for them with, you know, no Shamet being out there, Miles more likely being inside the starting line. Josh Hart, the price has kind of come up just a little bit too much for me personally. Unless he's going to actually be starting, which I really feel like he only got to start last game was because there was no Mitchell Robinson being out there and you just slid Cat down to the center spot. I'm not too sure if I want to go there. Even if he does start, maybe I would have some enticing upside, but not necessarily looking there. Outside of that, everyone else, they're all GPP options just because it is a very tight rotation over here for the New York Knickerbockers. Over here for the Charlotte Hornets. Some reports coming out. Hey, our best player is Knipple. Knipple's looking pretty good. That's what Miles Bridges is saying. Maybe that could light some fuel underneath LaMelo Ball, who in the past, I want to say he's actually played New York pretty well in the past, and I don't mind taking him as a GPP stab, especially with the reports of what just came out. We could possibly see him go out here and give us a good 45, 50 burger in regards to upside play. But Knipple, man, just what he's been able to go out here and do, the upside, the shot, it looks beautiful. He actually stuffs a stat sheet in all type of stat categories, and I mean, a true, pure three-point shooter is what this kid is. I don't mind it. Even with Brandon Miller being out there, that's just another play you have to focus and pay attention to on the defensive side, and it allows him to be able to roam, get those open shots, especially from the corners and things like that. 6,900 is not a bad price. If I got to choose between one of these two players, I would definitely would go and mess with Knipple. Outside of that, maybe if you want to take a stab at Miles Bridges, but I will say 8K, not necessarily looking to go to Miles Bridges, definitely a GPP option. Outside of that, definitely Diabite, you can look towards there. We know they are going to have to play him and Ryan in regards to the center rotation. You're dealing with Miles Bridges, you're dealing with Mitchell Robinson. Jesus Christ, get the name right. So you're dealing with Mitchell Robinson, you're dealing with Karl Anthony Towns. Both those guys, you're gonna have your centers out there. So I don't mind if you get like drop down here in regards to value wise, but not must plays in my eyes when it comes down to it. Going on over to the Milwaukee Bucks, taking on the Miami Heat. But before we get there, I want to say I had some interesting comments yesterday on the video in regards to some of the stuff that you guys said that you eat or that you have to have for your Thanksgiving dinner. And I got to pull it up over here on my other screen real quick to just talk about that, because that was very truly interesting. Someone said sweet potato pomegranate. What is a sweet potato pomegranate? Please. I have never heard of that right there. I have not. The purple drink, I understand the purple drink. Mac and cheese, yams, deviled eggs, potato salad. Definitely, I can agree with that. Definitely going to have the mac and cheese. Definitely going to have the yams. The collard greens, the mac and cheese, all those things, man. For me, I'm not a big turkey person, to be honest. Turkey's okay. It's not like the main staple. I feel like I personally go for all the sides, the dressing, you know, the stuffing, dressing, whatever you want to call it, the mac and cheese, the yams, and then the collard greens. Those are the main staples that I have to have. But for most of all, gotta have that mac and cheese, that baked mac and cheese, boy. That has to be there. That has to. What do you guys mess with for the protein? Is it turkey? Because I know I thought about frying a turkey this year, but didn't get the stuff to go ahead and do it. So I'm not even going to worry about or mess with that this year. But definitely, man, is it fried turkey? Is it smoked turkey? Or is it roasting that turkey in the oven? Let me know. All right, Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Miami Heat. Looking over here, if Giannis plays, then Giannis plays. He's going to be an okay option, of course. Would have to think he would be on some type of minutes limit, so that would kind of cap my exposure that I would want to get over here to him. Now, if Giannis is in, then I'm not going to be looking towards Rollins. I just think that price would be a little bit too much. Not really going to mess with Bobby Portis at 6,300. Not going to mess with Kyle Kuzma at all. I could definitely maybe be enticed to look at AJ Green and Gary Trent Jr. But if Giannis is out, then everyone else will become definitely in play. Miles Turner, he's looked pretty good over these last couple games. Definitely with his ability to stretch the floor and whatnot, knock down those 3-point shots. He's rebounded pretty well. I think if Giannis comes back, that is going to mess with his rebounding upside, but the scoring potential and what he is able to do with just the ability to stretch the floor, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at him at the 6,600 price tag. Other than that, not really too interested in anything else over there. On the Miami Heat side of things, man, Tyler Hero, first game back for Miami, looked amazing. Went out there, played 29 minutes. I think that he possibly could push to go ahead and play his normal 34 minutes. Looked very free. Love the downhill action, everything that they got going on. I think that's definitely going to be able to benefit him. 8,100, I don't think that that's too wild of a play in regards to going there. We've seen it. Opposing point guards have literally destroyed going up against Milwaukee. Luka, 68. Donovan Mitchell, 56. Tyrese Maxey, 86. Kay Cunningham, 59. Denny Avdia, 37. Only thing you got to worry about with Tyler Hero is just like, yo, I need you to make sure you're getting me these peripheral stats that I know you can go out here and get, and definitely the upside will be real. Didn't knock down any 3 balls specifically, but was able to definitely, of course, get downhill, and that's the stuff that we want to see. Miami's playing fast. They're playing at the fastest pace in the league. I love the upside, and I definitely think that's going to do benefits and wonders for a player like Tyler Hero. Bam Adebayo, definitely don't mind going to him. If Giannis is playing, I definitely do think that's a little bit capped in regards to the upside that you could possibly get for Bam. But either way, I don't mind looking at him as a potential play. The only other thing that you do have to worry about if you're going to play Bam is that him and Khalil Will are both only listed as centers. Bam does not have the power forward tag like it normally does, so that kind of just hampered it a little bit. If multiple of these players end up being ruled out, then Davion Mitchell off the bench definitely would be a player that we want to go to. Larson, that would be another one that we can definitely contend and mess with. And then Fontecchio would be someone else that you could look to. Other than that, mainly going to focus on the starters over there, not going to get too cute. Indiana Pacers taking on Toronto Raptors. This should be a tough matchup for Pascal Siakam, but going back to his team, 4,600 going up against the Toronto Raptors the last time when he played them. And I want to say, I think that was actually without Nembhard. Did he play? Nope, Nembhard did play in that one. So definitely can mess with Pascal Siakam, but Toronto typically does a pretty good job of taking out your number one option. Siakam, 8,800. I definitely want as close to 50 as I can get for him. He's been able to get there, 40 plus fantasy points as far as I can see for his last couple of games. So you could definitely mess with that. But Mathurin playing back in the country. I definitely do like Bennett Mathurin. I think the upside GPP option for him might go lower owned. Definitely be a pivot to come off of Pascal Siakam and come up off of Nembhard. I don't think anyone's going to want to click that name of Ben Mathurin. Nembhard, okay option. We have seen opposing point guards, they've done okay going up against them, and again, he had over 35 fantasy points last time facing them. Outside of that, other players like Ben Shepherd, Isaiah Jackson, Huff, they're all going to be GPP options. The only other person that I do think that you would have to look at and definitely pay attention to is going to be TJ McConnell at that 3,600 price tag. TJ is playing some pretty solid minutes, and we know he is a very good fantasy point per minute player when he's out there on the court. 16 minutes versus Toronto Raptors last time, 16.2 fantasy points. Back-to-back games where he's at least had over 20 fantasy points, and he's sitting at 3,600. Do not be surprised when TJ McConnell is going to be like definitely a value option on today's slate. Toronto Raptors on their side, without RJ Barrett, we're seeing definitely some upside for players like Scotty Barnes, definitely some upside for Brandon Ingram, who was taking a ton of shots. He took 30 shots last game. If you're going to tell me that he's going to go ahead and take 30 shots again here, I will have to have some interest. Definitely makes sense for a decent mid-tier option as a stud to pay up for, but I would say if we're looking for some value, I definitely do like coming down here to Jakob Poeltl. 5,600, good spot going up against the Indiana Pacers. We've seen it 38.2 last time going out against them. And this is a really great spot for opposing centers. Jalen Duren, 35. Evan Mobley, 52. Duren, again, he had 55. Yusuf Nurkic, he had 30 fantasy points. So it's a spot where we can definitely see some rebounding upside, definitely some scoring action as well for Poeltl. Don't mind him as a potential option for you to get down to. Now, if you want some value over here for them, Shaheed, he closed last game. And he's closing. Of course, with no RJ Barrett being out there, maybe it looks like we could see a little bit more in regards to his minutes. Definitely amazing passer. He is killing it. To me, he looks better than what I see from Isaiah Collier whenever he comes in off the bench to go ahead and go out there and just facilitate and play make. And I mean, well, of course, no RJ Barrett being out there. If they want a secondary ball handler, move quickly down to the 2. Shaheed makes sense, 3,800. So 2 value guards that you can get from this game that definitely you should have on your radar as potential value options to help you fit in some of your studs that you have on today's slate. Minnesota Timberwolves taking on my OKC Thunder. I'm going to be very, very honest with you straight out the gate. I don't like anybody over here from Minnesota. I don't. Of course, it's very hard for me to cap my team, and I can just attest to that. I will be very honest. Some people, they'll gas up their teams, talk about this, that, and third. when it comes down to certain teams going up against my team, I cannot tell you exactly who you want to look at and who truly should be it. You could definitely possibly mess with Julius Randle. Would probably be the only person that I could see might be able to go out there and give them fits, and that's from just the lacks in abilities for him to be able to go out there and knock down some three balls, and us not guard him too closely, and then of course his facilitating, playmaking, and his rebounding. That would be the only one that I could truly see pop off. You're gonna have Ant dealing out there and having to deal with Alex Caruso, dealing with Lou Dort being on him. I don't really see a reason for me to go to Ant at 9,400 in a tough matchup. It is literally a tough matchup. Rudy Gobert, you're going to be dealing with Isaiah Hartenstein out there, and he can play some pretty solid defense. I don't see this being a game for Rudy. Definitely, of course, I think our guards will abuse him in the pick and roll. Nas Reed, though. Nas Reed at 5,900, definitely finally coming back below that 6K price range. It makes sense as someone that you could potentially look to as a good play option to possibly take on for today. That would be something you can mess with. JD McDaniels will be a GPP option, has some upside, definitely kind of goes lower owned on typical slates like this. Other than that, if you want to take a stab at Donte DiVincenzo, go right ahead, but I'm not really looking there. For the OKC Thunder, if Shea gets ruled out, hands down, of course, Chet, Isaiah Hartenstein, both those guys get a huge bump in usage and everything, but it's going to be AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell all day, every day, twice on a Sunday. He can go out there and do the exact same thing, not as well, but do the exact same thing that you see Shea go out there and do. He can facilitate, but he is very good at getting downhill, the stop and go motions, getting to the rim, and scoring. I like the upside for AJ Mitchell if Shea is out. If Shea is in, then maybe. If you feel like we can go ahead and blow out the Minnesota Timberpups like what we've done to almost every single team in the league, we're 17-1 for a reason, then definitely AJ Mitchell would be someone that you could possibly go to at that spot. But I've already talked about two value guards that I really do think have some pretty good upside on today's slate. I don't necessarily think you have to go ahead in middles of the pack and go to an AJ Mitchell. Outside of that, Kendrick Williams is slated to make his season debut, so maybe he could be out there. Definitely GPP options in Chet Holmgren. I would rather play Isaiah Hartenstein than playing Chet here, especially if Shea is going to be ruled out. Memphis Grizzlies take on the New Orleans Pelicans. Jaren Jackson Jr. not first game back. After missing some time with injury and whatnot, he's back out there. That was his first game back. Sorry. Yeah, only 29 minutes, 28.5 fantasy points. This could potentially be a spot where we can actually see him go out here and do something. But I'm not too sure if I want to get up to him. We've seen him going up against him earlier this season, 39 fantasy points. It's very mid, honestly, when I look at the Memphis Grizzlies. It's very much mid. I would have some interest if Zach Edey is ruled out, then maybe we're going to look towards Jacques Landale, who played 31 minutes with Edey being out, 44 fantasy points. Or I could look towards Asante Aldama if he's starting, 33 minutes, 36 fantasy points. If not, I'm not necessarily looking too crazy over here to the Memphis Grizzlies. I know this should be a great spot going up against the Pelicans. It should be. It really should be. But they're running a pretty deep rotation with players. Vince Williams Jr., who I think should be playing more than 24 fucking minutes a night. He should be playing 30 plus, but he's not getting those minutes. If you were to tell me Vince Williams is going to go out there and play 33 minutes, hell yeah, I'm playing that. 6,100. AJ Mitchell, who? I'm playing Vince Williams. The upside, the matchup, everything's good right here. I mean, the fact that he can go out there and get you almost a damn triple-double in limited minutes is pretty damn good. But it's just so hard to back any of these guys. Santi Aldama, Jacques Landale, those would be the main two guys I would possibly definitely be looking at. But of course, would have to get that news if Zach Edey is going to be out. On the Pelican side of things, this is of course where stuff just gets muddled. I definitely wouldn't mind going back to our boy Derek Queen, who has played very well and I think deserves some grace in regards to it. Jamar Fears definitely getting benched might light a fire underneath these guys. So we could possibly see a much better game for them. Fears does have a very good DVP matchup. We did just see Jamal Murray go out here and drop 47 going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, so this could be one of those good spots. Zion being out there didn't rebound for whatever reason, but stuff the stat sheet in regards to scoring. So there's that. Played 30 minutes. There's that. Maybe you could take a stab right there. 8,200 is not a bad price. I mean, we know Zion usually is like 9K. Trey Murphy, that's another one that you can take a look at. 7,200, definitely a discount off of Zion. But I still will go right back to Derek Queen. If he's gonna start, I definitely will have some interest. I love the fact that he stuffs the stat sheet. Maybe he just needed to be benched in that situation going up against Chicago Bulls, just because all the games he's played over the last couple weeks caught up to him. Just wasn't locked in and focused like what he should have been. It should light a fire underneath him, and I don't mind going right back to him right there. Outside of that, you could always take a stab at Jose Alvarado, but I would rather play some of the other value guards that we've already talked about instead. Houston Rockets, looking at them with Kevin being out, we saw Reed Shepard get slid into the starting lineup, and they moved Şengün down to center, and of course Steven Adams, he's going to be out for this game as well, so it should still be Şengün being at center. Şengün, Centers going up against the Golden State Warriors. Great spot. Love this spot for Şengün. One of the top studs I do think that we can possibly pay up for today. Legit, we know he has triple-double upside. I don't mind playing for Şengün. In Thompson, though, with no Kevin Durant being out there. 49.2 fantasy points. This is another great spot. I know he's probably going to be dealing with Jimmy Butler defense and vice versa out there. Definitely still do not mind it. I've been begging to actually see more shots and stuff from him, begging to see him stuff stat sheets. I don't mind it. The price at 8,200 is okay if you can't get up to Şengün. But I do think we might be sleeping on Jabari Smith Jr. I've weirdly enough been a Jabari Smith Jr. backer this season. No Tari Eason being out there, no Kevin Durant. The rebounding is there for him. He can play some pretty solid defense, and he is trusting his shot. I like Jabari Smith, 6,200. Makes sense to go to that right there if you can't get to some of the other studs, the pay up options over here for Houston. Now going to the value, Reed Shepherd. If he's going to start again, yes, please, I'll take it. We know he's out there to shoot those threes, possibly be annoying on defense, get some steals, and he could dish the rock a little bit. Just has to make sure that his three ball is falling for him to really be able to pay it off. Outside of that, Aaron Holiday, he went out there, got the blowout run, played really well. Another sneaky GPP dirt option you can get to if you want to maybe get off of the chalk of the TJ McConnell, or the Shaheed. Am I saying his name right? You guys know who I'm talking about from Toronto. If you want to get off of those guys right there, definitely can mess with Aaron Holiday. Outside of that, got to pay attention to Clint Capella. With there being no Steven Adams, he's going to have to get the backup center run over there for them. And that would really just be it for me over there on the Houston Rockets side of things. For the Golden State Warriors, this is going to be a tough matchup for Steph Curry. It should be for Steph Curry, for Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, if he's actually in. I really don't see myself getting to anybody truly over here for the Golden State Warriors. I'd have to say they're all GPP options in my eyes. I don't see anybody that sticks out that I have to get. Really, that's kind of a tough game right there to just want to pick and choose and get pieces from. I think that would be more of like just get some value from that game. Not necessarily like you have to build around over there from that. Going on over to the San Antonio Spurs, taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. Man, De'Aaron Fox, he can score. I really wish that I could see the assist upside that I normally would see from De'Aaron Fox, especially when he's in a really great matchup for him to go out there and do that. This is another one of those games where this is a good spot for him to go out there and score, do what he does, be him. We'll just hope that he can give us the peripheral stats to get there. 9,300 though. Way too much for me to spend, especially when you are not the most consistent stud on the slate. I am going to pass on that right there. Vassell, definitely I could possibly mess with it. GBP option if you want to come down from De'Aaron Fox. But Keldon Johnson, I just want them to give the boy the minutes. He can go out here and dominate and crush, and I definitely do not mind going to Keldon as a potential option instead of looking towards the De'Aaron Fox. Outside of that, Luke Cornett, for whatever reason, is still starting. Played 28 minutes last game. Actually took 3 shots, made all 3 of his shots. Another value mid-tier center that you can go to, but very capped in regards to his upside. If they are still starting Champagnie, definitely going to have some interest. 4,900 is pretty cheap, and he's been showing us that he's been able to pay it off. Other than that, just keep an eye out. If Harper's going to be back, that's definitely going to mess with some minutes in rotation for some of those axillary pieces and guys. Over here for the Portland Trail Blazers, Denny Avdia, again, he's questionable. Well, not questionable. Shaedon Sharpe is questionable. If Shaedon Sharpe is out, then we're going to still get point Denny. I definitely don't mind going to Denny. If Shaedon Sharpe is in, I would expect for him to come back with a minutes limit. I'm not going to be running and gunning to go play Shaedon Sharpe, but I will say that takes a hit towards the 9,500 Denny Avdia. Wouldn't necessarily want to get there. I can still mess with Jeremy Grant, especially if he's still going to somehow be in the starting lineup. I can mess with going to Jeremy Grant, but if he's not starting, then I'm not going to really have any interest getting there. But no Wemby. Donovan Clingan looks pretty good. And I said it before, with Wemby being not on the court, opposing centers, they're playing pretty well without Wemby being out there. So I do have some interest in Clingan. If that's going to be an option you want to get to, I would rather play Clingan than playing Luke Cornett on the flip side of things, or some of the other ugly looking options that we have at the center spot. Definitely wouldn't mind going to Clingan. Kamara, he's always there. No one, for whatever reason, seems to roster him. That could be another option you could pay down to right there as a play. Phoenix Suns over here for them. This should be a gold mine. A really great spot. Really nice to have as a late night hammer. Devin Booker, amazing spot. We know the Queens, they played no defense at all. Coming off of a pretty tough game last time out, going up against the Houston Rockets, which is the exact same scenario that we have for the Golden State Warriors tonight. I like Devin Booker for a bounce back position. The scoring, no Grayson Allen. The assist should be there for him as well. Definitely wouldn't mind paying $9,200 for him as a potential option. We'll get you off of some of the other higher owned studs that'll be on the slate. Dylan Brooks, we know that he has a pretty high usage. Of course, again, no Grayson Allen. Rebounds are there. He is scoring pretty well. He's knocking down his 3 ball, things like that. Plays some pretty solid defense. I wouldn't mind getting over there to him. Hopefully he doesn't get ejected going back and forth with Russell Westbrook. Maybe. Hopefully he doesn't. But Colin Gillespie, if they're going to start him, definitely 6,300, rightfully so. I would definitely mess with that. But my boy Goodwin, if he's starting, another value option that we've been on, coming off a bad game. It was the Houston Rockets. I'm not going to hold anything against them. Still rebounding the ball, still play defense, still was able to go out there and get a couple of shots up. I would definitely be going towards Goodwin. Again, you're going up against Sacramento Queens, who play no defense. It just makes sense to go over here to some of these players right here. Mark Williams, if he's actually starting, of course, not dealing with Sabonis, he should be able to go out there and dominate Drew Eubanks or Precious Achiuwa. That would be someone that you could definitely keep your eye on as a potential option, but not anything that you have to punch flag on. 5,700, no. I mean, I would probably rather play Klingon if I'm going to be honest right there. But definitely Goodwin would be like one that I really want to pay attention to as a value option to get from the slate game. Over here on the flip side of things, if Dennis Schroeder is out, then I'm just like all aboard Malik Monk. He's playing some pretty high minutes, and that should only go up, especially for his usage, if Dennis Schroeder is going to be out. And that should solidify the minutes and what usage and whatnot we should see for Russell Westbrook if he's going to be out. That really is kind of all that I have interest in over here for the Sacramento Queens. They're just still a very, very, very sorry of a team. All right, now comes the fun part that you guys seem to love at the end of this. I know I get comments about this all the time. Going ahead building you guys core. TJ McConnell, just go straight up right ahead and go ahead and lock him in. Jakob Poeltl, like him there as a value center option, 5,600, not bad. Of course, I already talked about a couple other ones you could look towards. You got the Mark Williams on the slate. You got You got Mark Williams on the slate. You got Khalil Weir, Miles Turner, Isaiah Hartenstein, especially if what's his name is going to be out over there. Donovan Clingan as another option you can go to right there. Already said Mark Williams, Jacques Landale if they realize Zach Edey. So definitely some okay options right there. Total probably end up going lower owned if anything does shake out and move over there. And then, of course, my boy Goodwin, give me that late night hammer right there in the event. As long as he's still starting, I definitely do think he would be a pretty good option. 54 going up against the Queens, who will give up those boards. No Sabonis being out there. And then also, I think some good steal and block upside that we could possibly see over there for him. And I definitely want to be have a piece of that. And then to finish this out, I talked about it in regards to studs and stuff that I did like. And you know what? I'm going to find my boy. Where are you? We're going to go with Shango. Django 9,900 going up against the Warriors. He's power forward eligible. I don't have to play him at the center spot, which just makes it even better in regards to being able to fit an actual another center if you want to get another center or something like that. But being able to just put him in at the forward spot leaves you with 6,300 left over on this right here for a core. Not bad. I gave you one stud. You could definitely fit another mid-tier option in regards to a play right there. You could put another value or two pieces in there and then get you another 9K or something like that stud as well. This is a pretty solid core right here. Actual core. And then, of course, my list of studs that I will be on for today will be posted up on the Patreon closer to lock. Good luck to everybody on the day. Subscribe to the channel if you guys have not done so already, so you guys don't miss any of the content your boy does drop over here. We'll have some NFL content tomorrow. Let me not lie. If I get it recorded tonight, I will have the NFL stuff posted tonight. If I don't, then I will just have a core posted onto the Patreon, and I'll post it onto the YouTube comment section as well for you guys. So I'll post it over there, and then I'm going to do a lotto ticket pretty much for the NFL. It's just the NFL tomorrow. We'll take 2 plays from each game, so that'll be a 6-leg ticket from tomorrow, 1 player from each team for us to go ahead and hopefully cash out on that. Good luck to everybody. Hopefully you guys have a happy holiday. Enjoy it. Don't stuff yourself too much. Enjoy the time with the family. Peace.